Life continues to get interesting. And interesting is a nice way to put it. Really, it gets hard. I was talking to somebody the other day and they were telling me about the things that they're going through, and I was sharing some of the things that I'm going through, and each one of us acknowledged that life is hard for each other. And then I stopped and thought, and I was like, it's not just hard for each other, it's hard. Life is hard. You can remove the my from my life is hard and still have the same sentence that is applicable across the board. Life is hard. Jesus told us something that most people can agree on. He said, in this life, you will have trouble. I bet you can probably attest to that. You've experienced some trouble. As we're still navigating the difficulties and the uncertainty and the fear that goes along with the seizure that my son had, we find out that there's a mold problem in our house. That mold is actually probably the reason that he had the seizures in the first place. So that means we got to get him out of the house. Living in an old home, our home was built in 1941, comes with its own set of problems. And to add mold on top of that, my wife is just ready to throw in the towel and say, we're moving away from here. We got to get out. It's not worth trying to fix it. With a background in finance, I am completely aware of how difficult it is right now in the housing market. Not only are house prices extremely high, but mortgage rates are extremely high. And I know that we are going to be very, very limited in our options. And honestly, I don't like the look of our options in trying to move into another house. Yes, we could make some money selling our house. Even if we do fix the mold, we still have a problem because we won't have enough to get a house that will meet the needs that we have. The idea of throwing money into the house, into something that we can't necessarily even reap the rewards of, other than obviously living in a safe house, but the electrical that we are concerned about, the plumbing that we've had problems with, we won't even be addressing those. We're just addressing something to get back to a baseline that we've been at since we moved in, and it just doesn't seem exciting. Not only is it not exciting, it's actually kind of daunting to think about because from a financial standpoint, we were already tight. And then to throw something like this on top of it, it just adds a whole new level of stress. Meanwhile, my wife and kids have been staying in my in-laws' house, which I'm extremely thankful that they have a place to go. It does not make it easier to try and navigate and make these decisions whenever we're separated from each other. Well, one night as I was here by myself, I was writing out a prayer to God, just in my desperation, trying to get some kind of clarity and putting my emotions, my thoughts, my fears down on paper, and I just wanted to share it with you. God, I need your help. It's so easy to trust in your guidance and provision in the past. It's harder to trust in the present. It feels impossible to trust for the future. You know I've not really been one who approaches the future with much more than a let's wait and see what happens kind of attitude. Maybe it's been easier for me in the past because I wasn't believing you would do something specific. I was just believing you would care for me. I see why Paul wished for his audience to be single. I'm not enough for my family, but I'm compelled to be so. I keep writing, hoping for clarity and peace, but I feel neither. God, please show me the next step you want me to take. Please forgive my doubts and fears. Please help my unbelief. I do believe. I do believe. I believe that God will show up. I believe that God will provide. I believe that God will guide. I don't know how. I don't know what it will look like. I don't know. But I choose to stay and fight to believe. As I was thinking about what I'm wrestling with, I couldn't help but think of the story of Jacob in the Old Testament. He's coming back to the land where his brother Esau lives, and they didn't necessarily leave on the best terms. He stole his birthright, he stole the blessing from their father, and he ran for his life because he was scared that his brother was going to kill him, and now he's coming back to the land. He's coming back, and he gets word that his brother is coming out to meet him with several hundred men with him. So he's scared to death, and he divides up his camp, hoping that if his brother attacks one side, he won't necessarily take out everything that he has acquired while he's been gone, but he still is just scared to death. He keeps moving closer, and finally it gets to the point where he sends his wife and his children ahead of him, and he stays behind by himself. It's while he's by himself that he wakes up one night, and this guy is there, and the Bible says this man, and it's in a capital M, we're to understand that it's either God or an angel or something. And he starts wrestling with him. And he's wrestling with him all through the night. And the guy's like, you got to let me go. And he says, I won't let you go until you bless me. Finally, the guy touches his hip and knocks it out of socket. And he's still wrestling. And he says, you need to bless me. And the guy asks him, what's your name? And he replies, my name is Jacob. And he says, no longer will you be called Jacob, but you will be called Israel. And he lets him go. Now, the name Jacob meant deceiver or supplanter. So as he's wrestling, he has to wrestle not only with this man, but also with who he is. He understands that he is a deceiver, and he's wrestled with that because it's got him in this situation. He deceived his brother, he deceived his father, and he had to run for his life, and now he's facing the consequences of possibly being killed by his brother. And so that just adds to that turmoil and that wrestling. But in spite of that, he's given a new name. a name that means that may God persevere. In spite of having to wrestle with the situation of his brother coming to get him, in spite of having to wrestle with this man, in spite of having to wrestle with his own identity, he remains tenacious and he is blessed. He finally gets the blessing that he was after, and he gets that new name, the new identity to move forward. While I was talking to my wife about the struggle that I had with just our situation and how it seems so overwhelming and I just continue to fight, but I feel broken. I feel completely beaten down by life. I don't know where to turn. I don't know what to do. Obviously, I turn to God, but I feel so ill-equipped for my situation and just overwhelmed by my future. And she sent me this. She says, your calling is going to crush you. If you're called to preach and teach the gospel, you will be sifted for the wisdom that anoints your message. If you are called to empower, your self-esteem will be attacked. Your success is hard fought. Your calling will come with spiritual warfare and a sifting. Both are necessary for your mantle to be authentic, humble, and powerful. Your crushing won't be easy because your assignment is not easy. And you can't minister powerfully what you haven't walked out. When you're feeling the weight of it coming down on you, run to the Father who longs to be your comfort. Let him whisper your true identity over you while resting under the shadow of his wings. Position yourself against his heartbeat. Let him renew your strength and set your eyes forward. I don't know why we're experiencing all the things that we're experiencing. I don't know if it's for some bigger purpose. I don't know if it's simply because life is hard. In this life, we will have troubles. But I choose to fight to believe that God is with us in the midst of it, and God will see us through it. If you're fighting something right now, I encourage you, keep fighting. You're not alone in the fight. I know you may feel like you have nobody else with you. I know you may feel like the challenges that are coming against you, the obstacles you have to overcome are impossible. They may be, but it's still worth fighting. Just like Jacob, after he wrestled with the man overnight, he walked differently afterwards. He didn't walk away unscathed. His hip was knocked out of socket. That's going to change the way he walks. You may walk differently. You may have a lot of battle scars, but I promise you it's worth continuing to fight. So stay tenacious. You don't know what is waiting for you on the other side of this battle. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you appreciated the story. Hopefully you were challenged. Hopefully you were encouraged. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider subscribing. If you like the content, give me a thumbs up, put something down in the comments section, and share it on social media. And I will see you next time when we can share a cigar and change the world.